Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be having a look at Charlie Higson's Young James Bond series. So I was a huge fan of these when they came out, and the books that were released are fantastic. I've got them in various editions, proof covers, first editions, hardbacks, limited editions, there's all sorts, so plenty to have a look at. So that will be the subject of today's video. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. So here we have the very first book to launch the new Young James Bond series, as it was all those years ago. Now I can't believe that this series launched, what was it, 15 years ago now? Yeah, first published 2005. I mean, almost 15 years ago. How incredible. How time flies, doesn't it? However, this is the very first one. Now, this was the first glimpse we had of the first Bond book in years. Penguin published this through their Puffin imprint, and they took the excellent choice of having Charlie Higson, I guess most famous for being an actor more than anything in the Fast Show, amongst other things, and also he was in the two-tone group, the Higsons. He was chosen to write it, and who'd have thought it, because he did such a fantastic job. I mean, absolutely brilliant. And this first book is just knockout. I really like it. I mean, in fact, all five in the series are excellent, and they really, you almost forget sometimes that it is supposed to be the younger Bond rather than the Bond that we know. However, I couldn't help but imagine when I was reading these, it was like a young Sean Connery. That's how I sort of pictured Bond in my mind. So this was the very first hint of it. So this was Silverfin, the first book in the series. This came out as an uncorrected proof. Now, I was quite lucky at the time that I was working in the book industry, and I had access to a lot of these books as they were coming out. Higson himself prolifically did loads of events. He did school events, he did all sorts, and whenever I came across him, I would always ask him to sign the latest books and that. So a lot of my collection has been signed by him, so that's his familiar signature there. He last came to Plymouth, which is where I live, to do a talk at the university, interviewed by a friend of mine, about his zombie series, which he did after the Bond books, and we'll get to those a bit later on. But for now then, I've split the books into the 5 main series, and then I've got a whole load of promotional bookmarks and audio and all sorts of badges and things to show you at the end. But that's the first Silverfin book, which is the proof. Then I've got a couple of the regular paperback. I think one is this sort of ever so slightly like pixelated cover for the first edition. I think this might be just like a variation of the first edition as well. Yes, this is a reprint, but I think it's got a particular style which is slightly different to the first, which is why I've kept that one in the old collection. We've also got, well, as I said, these aren't in any great order except by the book. So this was the audio book, which Higson himself actually read, and that's Silverfin on audio. They did actually do the whole lot in audio. This one is the American book proof for Silverfin. So obviously completely different cover. I like the American ones. I didn't collect them all because there's just so many. I remember asking Charlie Higson about his own copies, and he said he literally has got boxes of them because they were reprinted in so many countries, and every country that had an edition of one of his books, he got sent a whole box for himself. So he was just flooded with extra copies, literally more than he knew what to do with. This is quite nice. This is Silverfin in American hardback first edition, so published by Hyperion over there. Very similar to the first British edition. Very nice to have this one. Remember, it wasn't that easy to get hold of in Britain at the time. So I'm going to struggle to have all of these in picture at once, so I'm just going to do my best, but I'm afraid they're going to have to go out over there just to get them in. And I've got one more Silverfin, which this is a limited numbered edition, and these were published through the Waterstones online website at the time. They all come slipcased. The hope, of course, was that you get number 007, of course, of 999. But alas, I didn't. I got number 755. But there we are. That's quite nice. And these slipcased hardbacks are lovely, actually. So that's the first one of those. So that's it for Silverfin. Then we're on to book 2, which is Blood Fever. So here we are. This is Blood Fever. Now this is, as I said, this is just as they come. This is the US proof for Blood Fever. Really heavy proof. Big thick pages. So it's the Miramax proof for book 2. Then we've got the this is the UK proof. Got a little bit of dust on that one. This is the UK proof for Blood Fever. As I said, I tried to get these all signed each time I met Higson when I could. Then once again, we've got a couple of editions of the regular paperback first edition. I think these have got slight variations once again on these, so that's why I've picked them up. That one's quite nice. It's dated 5th of the 1st, 06. And the same again there. And the final Blood Fever is this one, which is a Waterstones exclusive, and this one's still sealed, this one. In fact, it's still got my original order on the back there. £25, I think that's what the original retail price was on these. So that's it for book 2. Book 3 was Double or Die. Now this one came out initially, I've only got 3 editions of these. This one came out, the proof, we didn't know. It said which title you decided, and you had to vote at youngbond.com which title you wanted. Double or Die was the eventual winner. But this was the original proof of Double or Die. And then when it did get released, it came in this funky metal bag, which I got Higson to sign on the front in gold, which he graciously did. So that's quite nice. So there is inside there is a book inside, I promise. And then once again, we've got the Waterstones limited edition slipcase of Double or Die as well, which is really nice. So that's sealed as well. Okay, so that's book 3. Book 4, I'll dig those out now. So we got Hurricane Gold was book 4. Now this was the start of Puffin sending their proofs out, not as books, but as like bound proofs, the ring bound ones. I'm not so much of a fan of these. They are unusual though, but they became much harder to get your hands on. I was quite lucky in that. As I said, I worked in the book business back then, and I was able to grab these when they came in. So that's the proof for Hurricane Gold. Once again, I think I got, yeah, Charlie did sign that one down the bottom. And then this one came out in, so it was the proof. This is the regular paperback for us. Really striking jackets, aren't they, in the gold there? I mean, absolutely fantastic when you think about it. Obviously, it reminds me of the gold. You think of Goldfinger. An exclusive extract for the next Young Bond, which was by Raw Command. Great stuff, Hurricane Gold. And I've also got that one in, they did do this in hardback, but this was this particular edition, you see that sign there, this was an exclusive for independent bookshops rather than the chains. So that's where this one came from, and it is fantastic with that gold edging to it, which is beautiful, isn't it? It's got the wraparound band there, which is stuck in, so that should be fairly easy to get. But wow, they went to town on that, didn't they? And I remember having to order this one from an independent bookshop and getting it, and that one was limited to 1,500 copies, it says, so that was number 638. You've got to admit that is quite a lovely edition, that. And then once again, Waterstones did their exclusive to Waterstones Online Hurricane Gold hardback, and they were signed, limited and numbered as well. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So that was really nice. Now, the very last one in the main series is By Royal Command, and we've got a similar sort of story, in fact. So we've got the ring-bound proof here. So they take up so much room, don't they? A whole shelf just for young Bond books. So this is the proof copy, and it's ring-bound again. It's signed. I don't think there's any paperwork with this from Puffin. No, it's just the standard proof. But as I said, the last two proofs are very hard to find, as far as I know. I don't think they come along very often. Then we've got the standard paperback edition, but this is a trade paperback, so it was not a $6.99. This is $12.99 trade paperback size. 2008. And it just says there, look out for more Charlie Higson books coming in 2009. So they'd already decided the 5 was going to be it. So that was that format. Then you did have the By Royal Command normal paperback first edition, which is this one. And this one always reminds me of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I remember having a chat with Charlie Higson. So after that, one of the events, we were able to drop him back to his where he was staying, and we were talking about what was his favourite Bond, and I said mine was On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And he said, "Why do you like that one?" I said, "Well, just so many reasons. I thought Telly Savalas was so good as Blofeld. I thought Diana Rigg was looking her just fantastic in that film. I love the soundtrack to it. There's so much to love, and Lazenby, my favourite Bond, so that's why I love On Her Majesty's. Not perhaps the most popular opinion, but it was for me. I've got no Waterstones exclusive for this one. I don't know if they even did it. I think I would have had it if they had. But this is the Independence edition, which is once again a hardback signed by the author. Perhaps not as lavish as Hurricane Gold, but still really nice. 2,000 copies this time, and this is number 246. So it's Royal Command. So that's it on the main series, but I've got some other really cool stuff which I think you'll like to see. So let's go through that now, if I can make a bit more room here. Well, I almost forgot this one. So this is the Danger Society, and it's the Young Bond dossier. Now this is a nice little hardback. This one also came out towards the tail end of the series, and has got this little wraparound band, which I imagine is probably quite tough to find these days. It does include a Young Bond short story, so it's definitely worth having. But as you see, by this time the series has all been published, and this is almost I wouldn't say a cash-in, but it's to make the most out of the series and the license, because I imagine Puffin were paying quite a bit for this. So illustrated by Kev Walker, the chap who did the graphic novel, and this is a mixture of Young Bond. It's a Young Bond strip. It's also historical background to where the stories were set, which is quite nice for the real fans, as well as a short Young Bond story at the front here. I say short, it's like 60 odd pages, which isn't too bad, is it? So definitely part of a Young Bond collection, and one not to be missed. So as I said, I just missed that one off my my main video there, so I'm popping it in now. Yeah. So we can see we've got this little badge here, a Young Bond pin badge, which is quite nice, little lapel badge. Not sure where that came from, but it does say Puffin, absolutely trading company for Puffin Books on the back. So that's quite nice, isn't it? We've got this one, which is a rough guide. So Rough Guide are also part of the Penguin Group, who own Puffin. And this is the Young Bond Guide to London, and it's done as a rough guide. It's only a tiny little book. Obviously tying in with what's online. A big promotion for the Higson books as well, as you would imagine. So I imagine a youngster getting quite a lot of fun out of that. I do remember, although it was published by the Rough Guides, I think that might have been given away in a newspaper or something like that. And once again, got that one signed as well, which is pretty cool. Now, what have we got here? So let's take this out first of all. So this is okay. So this here then is a promo for the Silverfin graphic novel, which I have got, but it's part of my graphic novel collection, so I haven't got it with my Bond books at last. But this was just a little teaser, as it were, of the graphic novel, and Higson signed that on the front jacket there. And there's a little letter from the publisher, just sort of saying what that one is. Here's the ticket for when I met Higson when he was last down in Plymouth for his talk. Now, what have we got here? So I seem to remember they did some young James Bond collector's cards when Blood Fever came out. This is a sealed packet of those cards, which he signed, but I have got the cards separate. So once again, sorry I haven't got those. Look at these. So this is Decipher the Mystery and Win the Chance to be Young Bond. This was a Waterstones Puffin collaboration. There's a little booklet there. I've got one of these signed. I've got a few more by the look at it. Yeah, I've got a few more there. So if anyone desperately wants one, they can write in of that, because that's quite interesting, isn't it? But there's a signed one, which is my own collection. Trying to keep I've got some bits for The Enemy, which is his horror one. See, these are nice. Look at these. Look. So these are young James Bond bookmarks, both signed by him. That's lovely, isn't it? That's really good. I mean, they would look fantastic framed up together, wouldn't they? They're pretty nice. I really like those little promo bookmarks. Got some of these. So this is for Double or Die. These are little promo, they're bookmarks, but they're very, very thin paper. This is asking you to vote. So that's another one which is signed, and I've got a few more unsigned ones. So once again, if anyone's desperate, I've got to have them drop me an email. So what's this? So we got a Blood Fever promotional card of some sort, and another one, another signed one of those leaflets. So I've got two signed ones of those. It's quite nice. Then I've just got a few bits for The Enemy. So that was a little promo card. So The Enemy was Higson's next series after Young Bond. So I'll pop them in here now. It was a zombie one. So there's a little promo for his postcard series, and there's his a little bookmark for it. And once again, this is the first proof from Puffin for Higson's The Enemy, his zombie series, which apparently he was writing with his boys, and they were loving it. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that look at Charlie Higson's James Bond books. They are absolutely fantastic, aren't they? If you have liked the content, do please give it a like, and do consider subscribing for regular James Bond content going forward. Thank you once again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.